Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. This is it.
This is Top Flight Time Machine. I am Andy Hot Body Dawson. Pow, pow, pow.
I'm Sam Nifty Delaney. So what?
It's the Monday morning episode, but you get it on Sunday evening. If you're an IFS subscriber, it's as simple as that. Yeah, welcome along. A little dive into the mailbag first of all, Sam.
Oh, you froze a bit there, mate. Sorry.
Okay,
you did
I'll see
for a
what I can do
second,
about
so
that.
I missed a bit of what you said, but it doesn't matter. The listeners will hear it.
It wasn't important.
Good.
Is that any better?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I was going to say a little delve into the mailbag before we begin. Which it's weird because it's a photograph that we've been sent.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen it at the topflighttimemachine@gmail.com address.
I'll look at it right now.
It's from Chris, and he says it's just a classic photo of Ringo Starr with a chocolate digestive from Get Back.
Oh yeah,
and it's wonderful. There it is. Ringo holding up the chocolate digestive from the bottom, holding it upwards with incredible delicacy, using his fingertips.
Yeah.
So he's not getting too much melted chocolate on his fingers, and he looks. It looks like he hasn't washed his hair for about a month. His eyes seem dead, and his expression is sour. But it's Ringo Starr. He's holding a chocolate digestive. What more do you want? I might tweet that out if I remember.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to see when we look back on the episodes when we were still sort of in the afterglow of Get Back being released. It was the little things like that seemed to amaze us most about anything to do with the Beatles. Do you know what I mean? Like them doing
toast.
Everyday mundane things like eating toast and especially drinking tea. And of course, you went out and bought your Beatles mug.
I did, yeah.
And we can't remember if we toyed with even subscribing to the Teetles magazine. There's a Teetles web Twitter account, isn't there? Oh, this is from Get Back, isn't it? This looks like it's from the Get Back sessions. Yeah.
You can tell because there's cables on the floor.
Yeah. They had a lot of cables on the floor. Of course, the thing about those sessions with Get Back was that we decided to introduce cables because apparently we'd heard with Corp Wind that's what the Beach Boys had done. And, of course, we were feeling very competitive with them at the time. And apparently they'd used a huge number of cables for Pet Sounds.
We just used to sing straight into a record, and then George Martin would go off and copy them.
That was the way it was done in Liverpool back in those days, of course. We'd call it record singing.
It all changed when we moved to London. So, yeah, there it is. That's Ringo Starr. I think this could be a good new feature where we talk about photographs that the listeners can't actually see.
Yeah.
Got some
if you've got a photograph of a celebrity holding a biscuit, then get in touch. Please do not send us the Lionel Rich tea meme, because that's boring.
Yeah, so there we go. Yeah. Anything going on in your world?
I haven't really got much to report, mate. I've had a really lazy weekend. I mean, I'm low on energy at the moment. I don't know whether it's this sort of diet I'm on, right, where I'm like not eating. It's not a diet as such, but I've just tried to be healthy. And one of the things I'm doing is I'm not eating sugar. I've talked about that a lot in the past. Over serious problems with my relationship with sugar. So it's been 3 weeks now.
That's a hell of a statement.
It's a big statement.
Serious problems with my relationship with sugar.
They are serious because it's sugar. Sugar stimulates the same part of the brain that cocaine would. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and if you've got a fucking propensity to eat for reasons other than just like hunger, if you've got a propensity to eat out of boredom or a feeling of anger or frustration or any of these other emotions.
Anger sugar.
Like that's when you realise it. That's when I sort of thought I've got a problem here with drinking drugs, because I'm just fucking using them to deal with like everyday emotions that a normal functioning adult should fucking have learnt to cope with by now, right? And I hadn't. And but it's the same as sugar. I mean, and that is why I will go on sugar. Surely you remember the issue I had with GoPuff a couple of years back now. But
that
it
was
it was bad. It was bad,
looking
wasn't
back.
it?
Yeah, at the time it felt wild and exciting, but
At the
looking
time,
back
it
now,
was
a
all
cry for help.
content to you and the listeners, and I was riding high on it. But in the end, it was nearly my downfall. I nearly caught diabetes off of GoPuff, didn't I? So anyway, I haven't had any sugar. I haven't been eating pasta. I haven't been eating any bread. I've been eating healthily otherwise. But I tell you what, Andy,
What do you eat then? If there's no bread or
Well,
pasta, what?
I eat a lot of vegetables. I eat brown rice if I need a sort of a carb type thing with my lunch
How
or
do you
whatever.
cook brown rice? Does that not take ages? Brown rice
Takes
I believe it
about
takes-
15 minutes.
Does
15
it?
minutes. Yeah, it's like 15 to 20 minutes. It's certainly more of a hassle than cooking pasta, that's for sure.
So you'll have some vegetables and some brown rice together.
Yeah, that makes it sound boring.
bowl.
I mean, I do make an effort to cook
No.
interesting things. I do make interesting things, I'll have a baked potato, for instance. I'm not saying that's an example of an interesting thing, but I'm thinking of other examples of things I might have alongside my main
What do you
dish.
have as the filling? Cheese.
Depends. Beans and cheese is obviously the best. Sometimes I have other things. Sometimes I might make like a sort of a bean chili, right?
Right.
With vegetables, beans, tomatoes, herbs and spices, and then you chuck that in a baked potato, maybe grate a bit of cheese on top. Anyway, look, the point is, no one wants to hear about the details of what I'm eating. Well, I'm happy to reveal them, but the point I'm saying is that although in some ways I feel healthier, I feel low on energy. Like yesterday, I did exercise in the morning, but the rest of the day I basically did fuck all, right? I had a big shark up and a tidy up. And once that was done, it was about early afternoon, post-lunch. I'd done all my chores, I'd exercised, and I was just like, right, I'm just going to fucking sit about. I'll do some lovely, good old-fashioned Saturday sitting about. And that's what I did, right? Then round at about 4:30, the sitting about, which I'd been doing for about 3 hours, 2 hours, something like that, I was like, all this sitting about has made me a bit tired. Next thing you know, I'm upstairs on the bed having a nap off the back of 2 hours of sitting about.
Sitting about, like exhaustion from sitting about.
Yeah,
Let go
exactly.
a nap.
I woke up, had dinner, watched The Parallax View with Warren Beatty, which is a classic 1970s conspiracy thriller, which I can really recommend. And then I went to bed. About 4 o'clock, I woke up. I needed a piss and a sip of water. Classic waking up things, right?
Just a sip.
Just classic waking up. I try to have the sip before the piss. If not, it's madness. Go back to bed. Think, right, I'll read my book for a bit, just until I feel my eyes becoming sleepy. Next time, I've been reading my book for like an hour and a half, middle of the night. Fall asleep. Wake back up again about 7. Look at my phone to see if there's any breaking transfer gossip. Right.
That time of the year, yeah.
And then fell asleep again, woke up again at 9:15, right?
Shit.
Then took dog for a walk, went round my mum's for lunch, watched West Ham Sheffield United on my phone at my mum's because she does not have TNT Sports, right? So I'm sat there.
Has she got
there's
Sky
loads
Sports?
No, she hasn't got either. She used to have Sky Sports, but I think Rob McDonald, and it's not often I'm on his side, but I think he put a stop to it because they haven't got much money, and she basically had a subscription to Sky Sports just in case one of her sons was round and wanted to watch a game on a
that's
Sunday.
lovely.
I think she thought that we might stop coming if not. It was a bit of a shame. But I think in the end he was like, look, this is fucking ridiculous. So fair enough. So I'm watching it on my phone. Quite a lot of relatives around at her house in the front room after lunch. I'm just sitting there like a weirdo, just not talking to anyone, just looking at my little phone. Got home from that and just sort of had a little bit of a snooze on the bed again, mate.
Fucking hell.
So all this not eating sugar, etc. Maybe it's just not. Please do not get in touch, by the way, listeners, unless you are a qualified, certified nutritionist or something like that. At least you have, like a degree at minimum, just a bachelor's degree. Do not get in touch
Masters,
with
I
any
would've said.
opinions.
Masters
I'm
of Science.
saying, actually, I don't even want a bachelor's because you could have just done a bachelor's degree
Fucking
in
anyone
fucking.
can do them.
Yeah, that's true.
do
All
them
right, I want
online.
a master's minimum in nutrition or something similar.
And even
if
then,
you want to
you'll
get in touch.
ignore it.
Probably will ignore it, but I won't mind that you've got in touch because it's free professional advice at that stage.
I'm feeling bad now about the large box of Maltesers that I cracked into when the snooker was on this afternoon.
But yeah, but let me ask you something. Do you feel energised right now? How many naps have you had this weekend?
I've had naps. I've been waking up late and then having a nap after I've woke up and let the dog in the garden.
Yeah,
to have a
okay.
piss.
That's
'Cause
kind of a
I've
nap. That's
done-
halfway between a nap and continuing your night's sleep.
I've done what I said I wasn't going to keep doing, which is to like stay up late on a Friday and a Saturday night, slowly drinking booze and
Watching
watching
music
shit telly.
documentaries.
Watching music documentaries, old episodes of Top of the Pops, that kind of thing,
Yeah.
till about 2 a.m. And then I'm getting old though. I feel more tired in the mornings when I wake
It's
up.
a young
after
man's game. Staying
young
up
man's
and
game, it is.
watching music docs.
I've stopped drinking during the week generally.
Oh, that's good.
So it's just weekends, but then I don't know what I did yesterday afternoon. You're talking about what you've done over the weekend.
Yeah,
And you're saying
you're
you've
not
done
sure.
like nothing. I feel like I've done less than nothing. I've got no recollection of yesterday, Saturday afternoon. Because Sunderland match was Friday evening. We got out of the way
that throws
nice and
everything
early.
out of sync.
Fucking miserable defeat. Get that
Yeah.
sorted out. We scampered off from the stadium saying, well, the weekend starts here.
Yeah, that's good. That's got that out of the way.
But I don't know what I did yesterday afternoon. Can't remember. I think it was just literally nothing.
Maybe we're just old because I'm here thinking I'm really living quite healthily at the moment, and I am like every day I feel knackered. Maybe it's the web. Maybe it's the lack of vitamin D because it's dark and cold and all that. Len,
Could be that.
Andy,
Could be that.
just called you Len. That's my son's name.
That's all right. That's another indication that you're on your way out, really, isn't
even
it?
my nuts going as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm taking supplements. I take multivitamin, all that stuff.
Don't mention that thing again.
I won't
that you keep
mention that,
mentioning
but
we
you know
haven't
there's
been
another thing
paid
that
for
I've
yet.
been consuming, which will remain a secret for now for sensitive commercial reasons.
Fuck's sake. Well, the money's in the fucking
I had my
account
health
first.
MOT. They gave me a clear bill of health, although I'm starting to
good.
think, well, did you check everything?
Yeah.
I mean,
Did they even bother checking at all, or they just fucking
Yeah,
going,
exactly.
You're all right, you look fine.
This cunt looks like he'll fucking believe anything. There's no point us cranking up the fucking blood testing machine for a dopey cunt like this. Just fucking tell him he's got the all clear.
Yeah. God, talking about the health and that and the doctors, someone I follow on Facebook's just reposted something from one of his friends. Oh no, it's from a politician. It looks like it's from a Labour MP, but I'll read it out anyway. Yesterday I was visited by a man who's been referred to see a cardiologist after a concerning scan. The wait time, 93 weeks.
Oh,
He won't be seen until late 2025.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
well,
So,
yeah, the
that's
waiting list.
from a Labour
Another,
MP,
that's
but-
another thing. I got a bad back, so someone said, "Why don't you go?" My daughter said, I was moaning about it. My daughter said, why don't you just go and see the GP? I said, GP, you must be fucking mad.
not-
All that'll happen
yeah.
if I go and see the GP is that the GP will refer me to a physiotherapist. I thought, if I get fucking referred to a physiotherapist on the NHS, they'll have a slot for me in about fucking 3 years' time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No offence to physios, GPs or anyone else. It's just like, that's the way it is. For referral, if a cardiologist, you're waiting 96 days, and that could be a life-threatening situation with your heart.
96 weeks.
96 weeks. No fucker's going to be caring about Sam's fucking slightly achy lower back, are they?
Oh, me jippy back. Oh,
Yeah.
it's giving me jip. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Apparently is this impinging upon his work? Well, he's a podcaster, and he does say that leaning into the microphone can be uncomfortable, and so it is threatening his livelihood. But he also says that he once attempted to do a podcast from bed, but the acoustics weren't very good. Do you remember that?
I do, yeah. I was thinking we should do the live video stream thing from our beds as well, like Morecambe and Wise, but separate.
Do you know what, mate? We sometimes don't get enough acknowledgement for our innovation in podcasting.
I was thinking about this earlier on when we checked the temperature of the nation in our cars at Asda.
We've done think of the amount of like firsts that we've achieved. Broadcasting at very important moments of national reflection from Asda car parks in two different parts of the country. That's sort of shit that Noel Edmonds was streaming up in the 80s when they didn't have the technology. But, you know, he'd always have people at different locations, wouldn't he? We were the first to take that thinking and apply it to podcasting.
Yeah.
I was one of the first people, as far as I know, the first person to try podcasts from bed. I don't know if you remember, but I actually bought one of those special trays that have legs that I lay in bed with that over my lap.
I remember it.
With the microphone on it. Yeah.
And the microphone kept falling off, didn't it?
It did, yeah. So it didn't. Technically speaking, it was a bit of a disaster. But the important thing is we tried it, didn't we?
Yeah,
we tried it out.
We were podcasting remotely from 2018, long before COVID and lockdown.
Yeah, that's true.
And
that
the advent
true,
of Zoom, when everyone just started doing it on Zoom.
Yeah, yeah.
And we still use methods that are far superior.
Shadowy methods that will remain, again, like my supplement drink, will remain a secret for commercial reasons.
Well, I mean,
that's true. Actually, it was actually quite. It was quite rare when we first thought we'd better do that, wasn't it? No one was doing it. Now everyone's at it. Yeah. So anyway, we don't want awards. We don't want medals. We just want a little bit of recognition once in a while from the powers that be. I wouldn't mind a medal. Yeah, actually, I do want a medal. I'd love a fucking award. Medal.
Yeah. We'll give each other fucking medals.
Yeah. Yeah, I would like a medal.
Jalapeño.
Here's a brief but annoying message to let you know that you wouldn't be hearing this brief but annoying message if you were a subscriber to our Iron Filing Society Patreon offering.
For the price of a pint and a St. Clement's each month, you can get up to 4 episodes a week, 9 months before the rest of the world gets them. Early access to regular episodes, lots of other marvellous benefits, and there's absolutely no adverts or brief but annoying messages like this that will get right on your ticks.
Find out more and subscribe now at tftimemachine.com/ironfilings.
Jalapeño. Jalapeño.
Hey, I've just scrolled down Facebook a little bit further. Here's something else. This is much better than the thing about the 95-week waiting list. This post simply says 21st of January, 1924. So that's 100 years ago.
Yeah.
To this day when we're recording this. 21st January 1924. The death of Vladimir Lenin.
Ooh.
And the birth of Benny Hill.
Same day?
Yeah.
Wow.
100 years ago today.
So Benny Hill was the real incarnation of Vladimir Lenin?
Yeah. Absolutely certain. 100%.
Like
and that's from a fella called Justin Lewis, and I'll give his book a plug as a thank you for him inadvertently providing that. It's called Don't Stop the Music, right? It came out just before Christmas. A year of pop history, one day at a time. And it goes through every day of the year, and there's 3 or 4 entries of things that have happened in pop history on that day, all through the years. And it's really good.
That's nice. Really good. What's the bloke's name again?
Justin Lewis.
Justin Lewis.
Have a look at it.
Yeah.
£9 on the Kindle, 14 quid in hardback, coming out in paperback in May. But what I will say is, do not read it at bedtime, because you will find you have got earworms of at least one of the songs that you've been reading about when you shut your eyes and you try and go to sleep. I speak from experience.
Yeah. I'm with you, yeah. It's nice to listen to music books when you're up and about, and somewhere where you can keep putting the songs on as they pop up.
You don't hear the music, you're just reading about the songs and they go in your head.
Yeah.
And then there's nothing you can do to get them out again. So, yeah. This is a really, really ramshackle episode, I think.
You say that. You never know what could happen next. You don't know what's going to happen at any moment.
I've got a thing here about shrinkflation, where I could tell you which magazine, who we're big fans of, have been finding out who's doing the most shrinkflation and ripping us off. Do you want to hear some?
Yeah, go on.
One of the worst is Listerine Fresh Burst mouthwash, which has shrank from 600 mils to 500 mils, and yet the price has still gone up by 52 pence. That's disgusting.
Yeah,
PG
not
Tips
happy about that.
Decaf pyramid tea bags have gone from 180 tea bags to 140. But some of the prices of those have gone down. What else has been hit by shrinkflation? Bisto Best Chicken Gravy Granules. Cadbury's Brunch Chocolate Chip Bars, down from 6 to 5 in a pack. Colgate Triple Action Toothpaste, 100ml down to 75ml. The list goes on. I've noticed the deodorant I use, I think it's called Sure. Is that right? That's a brand of deodorant, isn't it? Yeah, it's that one. They've got smaller. They don't give a fuck, do they?
Well, I've noticed I'm running out of deodorant a lot quicker than I used to. I didn't. That could be down to size. I just assumed it was that my body odour was becoming more powerful, and it was burning through the protection on it quite quickly.
No,
okay, I've got two things if we need some padding to this Ramshackle episode. One is a news story that I spotted earlier. I wasn't going to talk about it because sometimes news stories are a last resort, and I've only read the headline, but it feels like it's certainly in our zone of interest. Rampaging wild boar like industrial machines, that's in quote marks. Rampaging wild boar, quote marks, like industrial machines cause chaos at popular UK campsite. The owners of Braceland's campsite based in the Forest of Dean discovered that it had been churned up by a group of wild boar which somehow forced their way onto the site. We don't know how they forced their way on. Somehow they have done so. I tell you how, it's because they're fucking wild boars. They fucking go wherever they want.
I think the word wild is the clue, yeah.
The tusked in... This is from the Mirror today, right? A campsite has been churned up and partially destroyed by a roaming band of wild boar. The tusked invaders have wreaked havoc at a West Country campsite in the Forest of Dean, leaving a previously perfect camping spot as nothing more than a mud pit after the boars' rampage. Bracelands, based in Colford, has been hit hard by these wild creatures. The new owners took charge of the site in April 2023, unaware of the close proximity of the boars. Well, that's a bit... So why are you selling this place? It's a great little place, but, we've been doing it for a few years now, and we've decided it's time to downsize. We're moving to a different part of the country. Okay, so business is great. We haven't had any problems whatsoever with any humans in particular, or most other species. Fucking 1 week into them fucking buying the place. Fuck me! We're right next to a fucking encampment of wild boars. There's a fucking huge load of them. 2 fields away. They're up all night drinking and dancing, making badgers fight for their entertainment. Even the baby boars are made to fight.
There's something not right about the Forest of Dean, I'm sure. It's where the Singing Detective was partly set.
Really?
Yeah, and also AMF are from there.
Oh yeah, they are, aren't they?
So I don't know. Do you remember, we did a gig once when a member of AMF claimed to have been in the audience.
Yes, that was amazing. That was an otherwise appalling gig in Manchester. It was a bad gig, one of our worst gigs, and it was then followed by my altercation with that guitarist in a pub.
Was it that venue where they pretty much just left the house lights on for the whole thing?
Yeah, it was like we were playing in the Royal Symphony Hall, for starters. Right, to an audience that would have been all right had it been in our usual room above a pub, and the lights were on fucking super bright, and all sorts went wrong. And then it was salvaged by a guy claiming he was in EMF.
Was that gig? Was it the EMF gig?
It all happened in that one night, and then the same night I had the altercation as well, probably because I was still fucking reeling from the gig.
Yeah.
So I had to have an altercation with that guy. I do remember coming out with some good information off the cuff about EMF, because there was like 2 guys. It was like I pitched an article once about like some people who about what happened to EMF. I pitched an article and they didn't publish it in the Guardian. They didn't buy the idea. But I'd read up on what had happened to every member of EMF. Was there about quite a number of different members? There was like fucking 7 of them or something like that.
I think there was a lot of them, yeah.
They're all jumping about on stage all the time.
And stuff, yeah.
And after they'd had obviously 2 big hits, or 1 very big hit and 1 sort of slightly less big hit. And they'd got a load of money, and they just all went fucking mad and just burnt out immediately. And there was I discovered that there was a different extravagant story about how each of them, one by one, it was like that bit in Goodfellas. You know, in Goodfellas, where it shows all of them like dying one by one after the robbery. So one turns up in the back of a dump truck, and the other one turns up frozen in a car in the middle of nowhere. It was like that. One of them got injured his willy by trying to stick a whole grapefruit inside of his foreskin. Another one just hospitalised himself on skunk weed. But one of them bought a Ferrari and then crashed it whilst driving at high speed through the Forest of Dean while simultaneously masturbating.
There you go. Again, the Forest of Dean is involved.
Yeah.
If you've got any sinister stories about the Forest of Dean, drop us a line. Tell us them. topflighttimemachine@gmail.com.
I think I mentioned recently I've been revisiting one of my childhood pubs. Found myself there with my oldest mate, right? We had to watch over Christmas. We were looking for somewhere to watch Arsenal play West Ham. And because it was on Amazon, not many pubs show Amazon. So we did a big ring around and we were really looking at far and wide, right? Desperate all day because we decided we were going to meet up and watch it together. And in the end, after calling loads of pubs, we finally found this one quite near my mum's house that we used to go to. It's very little local pub, unassuming local pub. And we used to go to it when we were teenagers because it was one of the first places that we would occasionally get served. Partly because it was very tucked away out of the way, not on a main drag or anything like that. And I've told stories about it before. Like, I took some girls there on a date. Or not a date, but we took some girls out there and I bigged it up to these girls that we'd definitely get served. And I got served in there all the time. And on the night we actually turned up, I shat myself because I'd kind of been bullshitting. But the manager recognised me from having been in there with my brothers, and he cut me a break because he could see the situation I was in, and he sort of served us and told us to sit low-key in the corner. And it was that night that... And so I was, like, buzzing. But then that night, I had a few drinks, and I was only about 16. I was so excited because I felt like such a big guy being there with these girls getting served alcohol. At the end of the night, he came round and he said, "We've got these sandwiches left over." And it was like, you know... I've told this story before. We were too embarrassed to turn the sandwiches down, even though they looked disgusting.
Yeah.
So we threw them out the window and stuffed some down the toilet and blocked the toilet up. Anyway, so that's one of the reasons. But this pub was like a regular. Anyway, we ended up back in this pub, and it was like it was like going back in time because we're talking about the early 90s, and it had not changed.
Brilliant.
It was wonderful. Really good. More suited to us now than it was then because it's basically like a bit of an old man's pub and we're now old men, right?
Yeah.
We had a great night there and we've actually been back 2 or 3 times since because the only change there has been is it does quite agreeable Thai food, right?
Oh, nice.
And you can order it. You know that system they got now in boozers where you don't even have to fuck around ordering at the bar. You just take a picture of the QR code on your table and then go whack. Anyway... So that was good. And I was there with my oldest mate who I've known since like literally nursery school. And we were living over old times. And he was reminding me about the era in which I was working on the men's mags in our 20s when we first started getting jobs. And he got a job working at Sky Sports making the promos, right?
Yeah.
And but because I was working on the men's mags and it was, as we talked about during that era when men's mags were popular and it was a bit of a boom, you could get, as we've discussed before, a lot of free shit in that era if you worked for a men's magazine.
Yeah.
And so what he would do is he would go around and he would tell me very openly, he would go around pretending to be me, right? Mm-hmm. He took some business cards of mine that I'd had once and like had the name of the magazine and my name on it. And he would go to, but he'd use them to get into really sleazy places like lap dancing clubs, etc. Right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know why you did that, mate. I said, I don't really mind, but I just don't know why you went to all those lap dancing clubs and stuff. It's grotty, innit? And he went, you can fucking talk. What about that time you called up?
I seen you in Soho.
Yeah, it was like that. And he reminded me of this thing that I'd totally forgotten, where I'd called him short notice and said, put a mob together. There's a lap dancing club opening in off the Old Kent Road in South London, which is slap bang in fucking Millwall territory anyway, right? Bandit country, right? Get yourself down to my office, and we'll all get a load of company taxis down there, right? It's a free for all, right? And I was like, oh god, oh no, yeah, I vaguely remember it.
I said that.
He said, are you sure that was me? Right. Anyway, the main thing that you must remember the night. It was the night when we saw either David Essex or Leo Sayer having a lap dance next to us. I was like, what the fuck? Which was it? He went, I can't remember. I've never been able to remember. He went, I always get them muddled up.
Because Leo Sayer's like 5'2".
I know.
He's got a fucking afro.
And he's fucking weird, whereas David Essex is Britain's most handsomest man.
Yeah.
Right? You couldn't get...
Sick.
And even their music's pretty different, let's be honest.
Yeah.
He couldn't remember, so I actually ended up Googling pictures of them, trying to find pictures of what they looked like around about 1998, 99.
Leo Sayer just looked exactly like he's looked since 1973.
So I could show him photos and go, which one was it? He couldn't remember. And when he told me, I thought, this is quite a funny thing for the podcast, but I don't want to libel anyone, right? I don't want to libel anyone. They're both nice family men, probably. They don't necessarily want it to be known that they were getting lap dances off the Old Kent Road in the late 90s. But then I just thought to myself, oh, it doesn't matter because it was inconclusive. He still can't remember which of them it was. And therefore, I feel as if I've libelled neither by telling that story. And this is representative of what a shonky episode's this been. The best anecdote is that in the late 90s, I went to a lap dancing club opening party off the Old Kent Road and saw one of either David Essex or Leo Sayer having a girl dance, saw him naked.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the episode. I was going to say, I've been listening to the first 5 REM albums recently. I recommend everyone does that.
What's the fifth one?
Oh, fuck. I think it's Document.
Right, so where does that go up to then? Like
that's
the
mid-80s?
Right,
87,
okay.
Like 83 to 87.
Yeah.
There's...
I don't know any of those albums, really. Wasn't Green one of them? Have they got one called Green?
Green was 88, yeah.
Right.
That was the first one I got into.
That was the next one.
That's the first one I got into, and I worked backwards when I was like 15, 16. So there's Murmur, Reckoning, Fables of the Reconstruction.
Yeah.
Life's Rich Pageant and Document, and they're all brilliant. Peter Buck is a fucking superb guitarist, and it doesn't get talked about enough.
I can highly recommend following Michael Stipe on Instagram. It's fucking great.
Yeah.
There's a man living his best life.
He is. He really is.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it, I reckon. Oh, yeah, 3 points each on the Prediction League, so even that's in keeping with the entire...
I'll tell you what, you'd never see Peter Buck or fucking Michael Stipe up a fucking lap dancing club, would you?
No, you wouldn't.
They've got more class than that.
All right, thanks very much for listening. We'll try harder throughout the week. Goodbye.
Goodbye.